Welcome to another episode of POS, the podcast where we tell you who the piece of shit is and stories and other dumb things in life. With me, as always, is the beautiful, the effervescent, the now superstar. Watch out, paparazzi from his new show, Bobby's World, like Compound Media. My co-host, Bobby Tamburo, and with us, our guest. He's still here because we were just hanging out with whatever Amy on our one show earlier, and he was like, "Hey, can I talk now? How about us non-tits people?" Dave Hintz, everybody.
I already feel like the magic is ruined. They know I was just on the other podcast.
What? Why do you care?
It's just good.
We told you to put a hat on, but you refused to.
There it is.
Wait, who's this?
It's a different day.
Hold on, I'll put on blackface and be Curious George.
That just gets us more canceled as you think about it. It just gets more offensive the more thought you give it.
Thrown to the street by a cop. Curious George Floyd.
But Bobby, for the few people out there that can't think, tell them why.
Nope. No.
I was just being a monkey.
So Dave, you dance, huh? You had some thoughts about our other guests.
Yeah, Bobby, you're dancing around that subject pretty good. I know that, eh?
Oh,
I thought Amy was great. If you have not watched that episode yet, go check it out. Amy was awesome. We had her on a year ago, and now I think she was, not that she wasn't fun then, but she was just loose and fun. And it was good to talk. Listen, she's the top of her game. We were talking about this before with Dave off the air, but like she literally is, like, if you're a comedy fan and you know how big Andrew Schultz is on social media, she's the Andrew Schultz OnlyFans type deal. Like, she's like that top 1%. I mean, there's bigger names on there, but they're famous people. She did this she's like Dane Cook. She did it from the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, she did that grassroots thing and grew up there. So it's cool to have her on, but she's fun. She actually did make us laugh. She has some funny things to say. So it's not like she's just some dope with tits. She was cool. I enjoyed her.
I thought she was great.
I was just showing my tits.
You're just a dope.
Oh,
that happens to have tits. Jesus Christ! I liked her idea though. But if my God, if someone put a camera in the car with us,
oh, that'd be so bad.
We say such fucked up shit. I have an idea for a joke, and this is probably, but Bobby and I usually do. We have one podcast that we know did well for the week. We know that one's going on YouTube. Sometimes two go on YouTube, but usually if we have like house money, this is where we just gotta go. Okay, we can say this, whatever. I have an idea for a joke I came up with today in a conversation I had with my daughter of all people. But then again, if you're watching and don't know my daughter, you're like, well, that's nothing. But Dave knows my daughter might be one of the funniest fucking people I've ever. Like, I'm saying that like quick, like it's
brutal,
like unforgiving. Like you think I'm bad, she destroys me. I can't. Like, I bow down. Like she can see she's quick and doesn't give a fuck. So I can throw things by her and stuff. And she has never, ever, when I said something, said like, oh, don't do that, or that's crazy. Today she did. Today she went, whoa. And she's never done whoa on the phone. I was coming back from the gym, and I hadn't gone to the gym since Friday because I started going back to the gym last week. And I know I'm getting older and everything, but man, I have been so fucking sore. It's been crazy. Like, everything's been hurting. And I wanted to go yesterday after taking 2 days off for the weekend, but I still woke up and was like, I was cramping, and for all you assholes, I'm drinking water, I'm doing it. I'm just about to turn 48. Okay. It's just a lot of shit going on. I go hard when I do work out. I still walk in things, but like, I went back again to where my body's like, hey, we haven't done this in a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'm beat up. So I took an extra day off, but today I told myself, even if you're sore, you have to go, because I always feel like if I'm paying for something, I have to do it, or I feel not guilty, but I'm such a cheap person that I know, shit, you're paying for a membership, go even if it hurts. So I was explaining that to her, and then I just paused and went, do you think Auschwitz had a membership? And she's like, what? And I go, well, maybe that's why they didn't leave. The Jews were like, this hurts, but and she goes, whoa. And she's never whoa me. She goes, and I know you. Which open mic will you try this? Probably Thursday in the comics.
I mean, technically they did. They just didn't know they were members until it was too late.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but sound just made a noise. And on my end, and like the internet tried to cut out because of what I said and Dave said. Look at Bobby trying to be like, oh, I'm above that. No, you go out in hot water. Not in hot water. In hot water. What's the N-word one? Yeah, that one. You go on that one. They say stuff like that all the time.
What?
I had no beef with it. I just didn't.
You didn't jump in. First of all, you can't have beef kosher.
They're allowed to have beef. They just can't have cheese on their beef. You're thinking of Hindus.
Wait, you can't have cheese?
Yeah, the meat and the cheese can't touch.
Jews have cheese.
Yeah, but not touching meat.
Yeah, on their sandwiches.
Huh.
Delis.
No, there are certain rules.
Not in the deli.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Then it's
they
not
Jews-
kosher. Then it's not
Go
kosher.
to Katz's Deli. There's cheese on that shit.
But then it's not kosher. I don't know what to tell you.
But you
No,
can.
I thought kosher was it had to be blessed.
No, kosher.
Not
There are rules for kosher. Like you have to, some like hardcore kosher Jewish people, like the kitchen has to be kosher, which means certain
No
food
cheese in the
elements can't-
kitchen.
Yeah. Honestly, certain food
There's
elements
a certain
can't touch.
way you have to butcher the cows.
Yeah.
With cheese.
No cheese. That's like literally basically take the God stuff out of it, and it's just rules of how to preserve food.
You get to heaven, he's like, no cheese. It's like, what the fuck? It really was the chosen ones.
No, you can have cheese, just
Not
not
in heaven.
touching your meat.
Dude, as much as I like cheese,
First of all, don't say it like that ever again.
cheese is so much better when it's in the sandwich as opposed to next to it.
You
So-
can't have any cheese if you won't touch your meat. Don't touch your meat with your cheese. Bobby, is everything okay, Bobby?
Yeah.
You seem a little off. Are you just high?
No, I don't know. You just seem to like hate the rules of kosherness.
I do. I
They're
hate
just
you.
trying to keep the Jews alive. I don't know. I'm also not a Jew scholar. I don't know the rules of kosherness.
You are our Jew scholar. You are. You've always been anything religious. You're our scholar. You went to school for. You are the Jew guy thing.
I'm a what?
Theologist. What's the word?
A theologist?
Kind of. Without having a.
I'm a political scientist.
No, but you know everything about the Bible, and guess who's in the Bible? Jews.
All right, here's a thought for you. You know how like they say God doesn't have time? Like he's all knowing.
Wait,
He's
what's this?
throughout time.
Oh, you meant.
Omniscient,
Oh, I thought you
omnipotent.
meant like God just doesn't have the time to deal with your shit.
Omnipresent.
That's the opposite of what I've ever heard about God. He's like, I don't have time for this.
I have no time.
But,
Answer,
like,
kids.
all right.
I don't have time for this.
So like he's omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, like all those things. So
All the omnis.
he knows the present, past, and future. Do you think the reason, and like if you read the Old Testament, he's not very kind to the Jews, and like people are always like, why was God so? Do you think it's because he knew what they were gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, do you think when he had Abraham up there and he was like, kill your son Isaac, and he was like, all right, God, I'm gonna do it, and God stopped him, and Abraham was like, that's kind of fucked up, and he was like, you have no idea what's gonna happen, do you, dude? And then he like made him wander around that desert, and they were like bitching. He's like, maybe you shouldn't have killed my son. And they're like, what? And he's like, what? My bad.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Like, God was mad how people were acting, so he threw the old, hey, Noah, get your boat. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I think later on when the Jews were being all like, hey, cheese. And then he's like, you know what? Here's a Hitler.
I don't think we're saying quite the same thing, but I
I
like where
think
your
we're
head's
on the
at.
same page.
Yeah. We're using the same logic, but we got to very different conclusions.
Nope. I think we got there right away.
Hitler was the flood, but just for the Jews.
Yep.
And the gays, and the Catholics, and the gypsies,
And the
Greeks.
nuclear bomb
I
was
already
the
said
boat.
gays.
Hey, God, should we save two of them? Nah.
Better not. Not if you do what I say.
Mr. Gorbachev, bring down your ark. That's what it was. It was like, why were people fired up when Gorbachev died?
I didn't know he was still alive. Like I really,
He's not.
yeah, no, like, but I didn't. When he died, I had no idea he was still alive.
That's how that works.
He was up there.
He was
Wasn't he?
certainly the most open of the Russian leaders.
No, but I mean, people were like, he's the man. I'm like, he wasn't the man. We had a Cold War for a while. I grew up that
No,
time.
but I think
But
the
he took
reason,
down the wall.
yeah, and they say that is because he like
He didn't want
opened.
to.
Nope.
Go ahead,
like-
buddy. I'm sorry.
No, he was the most open of the Russian leaders, in the sense that like they did tear down the wall. Ekin and Berliner, like Kennedy went and he allowed that to happen. All stuff that wouldn't have happened under,
No, and I
It's
get that, but that's like
comedies nobody
saying
likes
that, you know,
talking
like
about.
that's like saying Tito was the less molested of the Jackson Five.
Oh,
Like,
come on, that's just Bolshevik.
yeah, it was Randy. We all know nobody wants to fuck Randy, but like it was.
Who the fuck's
it's-
Randy?
Exactly. One of the Jacksons.
He's
Anyway,
the one who goes, "You're going to Hollywood, dog."
I was waiting. That was not him. And I've got it. Well, that's not him. How is that his name? Like, Google Randy Jackson. Every third black guy is called that.
For a while, we had a teacher. He was like, "My daughter's a big Randy Jackson fan," and I thought she was just a fan of the unit because I was a little confused.
Oh, I like that big unit, Randy Jackson. I'm sure he had a big unit too.
Yeah, he was pretty fat. I hear
I
that
wonder-
takes off inches, right, Dave?
Oh, Randy. Wait, you're
the
thinking?
dude
Oh,
from
you're
The Voice?
no. First of all, I like how this has become like 6 degrees of retarded. Let's bring back people that are watching that are having a mind melt right now.
Somebody's just having a stroke.
Dave is mentioning The Voice. You mean American Idol. Bobby
Yeah.
and I were making a joke on Randy Jackson, the fat black guy from the original cast of that, being the bass guitarist, one of the oldest brothers of the Jackson Five, a different person.
Yeah.
Both played bass guitar. Both Randy Jackson from American Idol is not from there. Different thing
Oh.
there. Bobby also made a joke about big unit Randy Johnson, the pitcher who pitched for the Yankees in Seattle and things of that nature. There was a lot there. That sometimes when Bobby and I just do a thing, it's a very ADHD. And even that one, I was like, my daughter going, whoa, because I knew there was too much going on there. If for Dave to go, was that The Voice? I'm like, oh God, now we're old people. We don't even know what show we're on.
There
You-
really are a lot of Randy Jacksons
Yep.
on Google.
Oh, so many Randy Jacksons, so little time. That's
Do you
my new
like
show I've got
pigeons?
coming up.
Dave,
I like
do you,
lo-
do you
I
like
do like
pigeons? How about seagulls?
They're okay.
Google Randy Johnson seagull.
All
He
right.
said it was a seagull. Yeah, I was gonna say what bird it was. Wait, so Dave, you don't know this?
I don't think I do. I might if I look it up.
You know who Randy Johnson was?
The pitcher?
Yeah. Do you know what he was known
Yeah.
for?
Oh, when he blew up the pitcher? Oh, when he blew up the seagull? Yeah, that's
The bird. The pitch so
Yeah.
hard, the bird blew
I
up.
thought we were gonna get a live reaction shot of Dave watching a bird
I,
explode. For
I
the
saw
first
the
time.
picture and I read, yeah, that's sad.
My brother hit a bird with a golf ball when we were golfing when we were in high school. And it was like literally not like far. It was like he teed off, the bird came out of a tree that was literally like 5 feet from us. And as it went perfectly, it just hit it. We're like, holy shit. And of course, someone goes, you got a birdie. Like, fuck you, hack.
My brother did the same thing to a goose. We were
A
playing
goose
golf.
Was it on the ground?
Yeah, no, it
No.
was in the air, and he fucking cranked it right in the neck, and like it got up, and it was like,
Now
It was
let me
pretty-
ask you the most
terrible.
important question: what was this ghost's, or what was this goose's
Ghosts.
demeanor? What was this
It shows
goose's?
off the
serious
rails.
goose at all.
What?
It was not a serious goose.
So you're saying it
In
was a
fact, you
silly
would say-
goose?
God damn it. God damn it. I was too late to pull the cord. I'm like, God damn it. I felt it coming. I'm like, what's he mean? God damn it. Silly goose. Who was that asshole? Who was the asshole who said, you're crazy? You know, like a silly goose. What the fuck is a silly goose?
Oh,
Where's that from? What is a
What?
silly goose?
it's the guy. You certainly wouldn't let him at the front of the V.
You know how when you weren't allowed to say,
No leading for you, Maverick. I'm the silly goose. I want that Top Gun, Maverick
Oh,
and
good.
Silly Goose. Where he's just like, woo, we're gay. Volleyball. Oh.
you know how like you weren't allowed to swear in front of your kids, so you have to come up with other phrases.
Not me, but okay.
Well, yeah, you raised your kids a little differently.
Yeah. It's on my album.
But that's why they silly goose is just code. Oh, you're a silly goose, aren't you? Like,
Oh, no. I know what it means. I like knowing the origin of where stories come
I
from.
feel like silly goose.
Because like 90% of those sayings are usually racist. It's so crazy.
It's
Like,
got to be.
usually-
Yeah, I was thinking
it's
silly
not.
goose has got to be code for like gay.
Yeah, it is.
Gay,
It is.
gay
That's where it came from.
Canadian.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh.
Canadian. It's what's all right, Pat. You want to know the origin of where silly goose came from? It is for gay, Dave. You're right. And what noise does a goose make?
Honk.
And what noise do you make when you're getting face fucked?
Woo!
Nope.
I don't know.
Good try. Good try. We've all watched the videos.
Look, yeah, I think honk would be honky for white person.
That's good. I could see that.
The word goose alone has also been used to the early 15th century to mean simpleton, silly, or foolish. Spend a few minutes watching a gaggle of geese, and you'll understand why they have been associated with so many negative characteristics. They panic easily, honk loudly, and bumble around, and it sounds kind of like another group of people I know. You can't bring them to a movie. They start yelling.
The homosexual community.
Oh, I was saying blacks.
No, I get what you're saying, Pat.
Oh, I didn't think I had to say it, but then I don't know. This is one of those episodes we gotta explain.
Porn of men face fucking to see if it sounds like geese. That's why he's gone.
And it does.
Dave's doing what he normally does. He's pretending like he's being part of the show, but then he's Googling, how do I cure AIDS? Seriously.
At this point, I'll settle for
so you
keeping
think
it at
you can
bay.
get dance casting auditions.
Oh.
Me and Dan Brown had one of our conversations in the car was, why is AIDS so fun to talk about? It was like a 10-minute talk.
Really
He's like, but why is it like so fun? I'm like, well, it's not. And then we had to go, like, most people wouldn't find this funny. He's like, yeah, but it's like, I go, because Dave, you and I, a lot of people, my sense of humor, I joke about things that are crazy to me because I would never have them. Now, there are people that have AIDS that don't find it fun. And I think some of those people came to our show Saturday because the second Dave talked about AIDS, they were like, hey, we have that.
Did they
Oh,
really?
I did talk about AIDS.
No. Dave, you had to think about you have a 3-minute bit.
Well, I forgot which one you're talking about. But
If
yeah,
I did my AIDS bit and somebody yelled out, I've got that, it would be the greatest moment of my life because I would just be like, I'll be right back. I got to go wash my hands. And I would leave the stage and go wash my hands just while the audience applauded.
Well, I think I've told you this, but that happened to me with the word abortion.
Oh, no.
That's
and I
good.
said abortion. The lady goes, I had an abortion. I go, shh, that's illegal. That's all I said.
That's good.
Yeah, it's like, and then she was fine with that. That's all I said. Shh, it's a speakeasy for abortions. By the way, I think we can say this, and if he watches it, too bad. Okay, so Bobby, Dave and I drive 3 hours to Manchester, New Hampshire to do a comedy show. I brought Dave with me. The booker booked the host. And I had heard of the host. He'd been on a couple of the Frank Springer shows.
Okay.
And not as a guy bringing me, but he's a comic out of the Boston area that, performs at places. But what I've seen, and then I saw how much time they're going to let him do, I was like, I don't know what this is going to be about. But maybe when he does the Bringer shows, he's just like me and Dave testing out new material. We don't see his act. You know what I mean? Whatever. So
okay.
It's
time out. Realistically, what percentage of you thought that?
I always, because of like me going to so many open mics and stuff, I never judge anybody on their open mics.
No, I get that.
Or
That's
shows like
perfectly
that.
fair.
Yeah.
And I think you are more like friendly than most, but I think most people would just go in assuming, be like, oh boy, this is not going to be good.
Right. But I was shocked that he was doing so much time on this show. But then again, knowing the guy who books it, he likes to book people that usually on the show have a local flair to them. And I didn't know how close he lived to this place. So I'm like, maybe he can do well. Yeah, we found that out afterwards. I was going to tell you the story. That was told. Dave is very good at like storytelling.
Fuck yeah.
I'm building up. And then Dave, it's like, it's like in the beginning, he goes, they're Little Women, let it go. It's like, all right, you just spoiled the book.
I laugh harder with Dave than any other guest.
No, I'm telling you. And that's why, by the way, on
Bruce
that car
Willis
ride,
was dead the whole time.
Yep, he was. And that was the end of Die Hard. That'd be crazy if he had already died hard. Dead hard. He's been dead the whole time.
He's like Pete Davidson was trying to replicate that knife trick he saw earlier in the movie, and he killed himself. So they spent the whole movie hunting him down. Oh my god! I saved you guys all a lot of time.
Yes, it was Carl from Family Matters just talking to himself the entire time. So anyway, as we get there, by the way, we were performing, Bobby, in a theater.
Ooh, I'll tell you about my
movie theater.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
With a 12 cinema movie theater.
That's dope, dude. Congratulations. Can you get like popcorn and ices and shit?
Oh, they even had a bar and
Get out of here, dude.
It's the fun thing about the show is that it's set up so it's a movie theater, but the seats have tables. You get pizza, beer.
So you're at the Alamo Draft House,
basically.
Yeah.
But they're called Chunky's Cinema. Chunky's is the name of it, and I did a bit on that on stage, which people seem to enjoy. About I'm hoping this guy's like the father of Wendy and named it after his daughter.
That's fantastic.
People laughed at it very hard. But I was just like, "Hey, Chunky!" And just doing it like. And I was on it. They put a big stage in front of the screen. The screen becomes like a brick wall with the logo and all that. The spotlight was like Usual Suspects. It was a little tough.
Yeah,
it was pretty bright. But everyone's sitting in super relaxed chairs. And Dave did make fun of the fact that he thought an Office Depot closed. Like, we kind of were like dickheads, but like whatever, we had fun. But anyway, when we get there, the setup is kind of like it's a regular movie theater, and like people can buy like movies now. You can buy your seats and choose your seats online. So people were walking in kind of like looking for their chairs. It wasn't like a packed house, but it wasn't bad. We had a good sized crowd for a movie theater, or whatever, especially for a comedy show. But but we go in, we just sit to the far back, and we see like there's a microphone and a little iPad and a little box, like it's obviously hooked to the sound, but no one there to run the show. So we're kind of, after a couple of minutes, the three of us sitting there like, I think they're just going to have us start. Like, no one's even going to talk to us. We're just going to have to, on our own, start this show. Yeah. Hopefully somebody turns the lights off or something like that. And as the microphone is laying on the table, this guy, Pat, the host, grabs the mic and goes, well, I found the microphone. And it's like, motherfucker, it was just laying there. And I just went, yeah, I put my hand on the table. I went, I found the table. What are we doing? What are we doing? And then right away I was like, so the Times or whatever, no one had said who was hosting. They just told us there was 3 comics on the show. But the Times alluded to him doing 20, Dave doing 25, and me doing like 45 plus. So I said, okay, so you're hosting. I go, I don't want to piggyback. How about you do that? He's like, well, you know, you can talk all you want. You're fucking hosting. He's like, okay, I got it, whatever. He goes up. Dude, it's so fucking bad. It is bad. To the point where the audience is laughing at how bad it is.
All right.
And then Dave and I, now Dave, you say you enjoy Dave on the show because of that way he is, that evil laugh he does when we know we say bad things. Dave doing that, someone who's failing, is one of the most wonderful things. You think a goose honking is bad. Like, Dave doing that laugh right there as this guy does, his whole shtick is he looks like he's 12 years old, but he's like 37. And he does look very young. But okay, I just said that to you now. Do you have any more interest in hearing about it?
About him being
anyone saying I look young, but I'm old?
No, because I thought you meant the story, and I was like,
no,
yes, because I kind of hope you
story.
got some more here than that.
Not the story.
Oh no, because I thought it was just a one-off thing, and that was the
no. It's thing. 20 minutes.
Oh God.
I mean,
well, it might be. We don't know.
You got to work with what you got.
I mean, the jokes are like to the point of like, when me and my wife go out to eat, they ask her what drink she wants, and they give me the kids menu.
Okay, all right. I see where he's going there. What else? What else does he have?
Basically that.
Oh, okay.
And then like how he can't watch porn because he looks like a boy. Everything's like a boy. I don't know. And it's just like over. He's just like trying too much joke format instead of just talking. And he doesn't really have the jokes aren't strong enough to be a joke teller.
I hope you give him that as advice in the next show before the next show you guys all work where he's like, oh, I know what you mean. He walked out. He's go, you ever know how 30% of the population commits 90% of the crit? And you're like, no, not that.
No. Can you drive? Because I now want you to open for me. You did it. You did it.
Oh,
but
God.
So he's doing that. And at one point, there was 2 people, and these were the 2 best fans of this place. They actually had told me they'd come because they'd seen me before, but they were sitting which was cool. There was probably about, and I know people watching this are like to shit on everyone and go like, oh, you're not, no, well, that sucks. Like, I don't care. If I'm doing a show and literally 5 people said, I've seen you somewhere before, found out you were here. I'm not at that level where people know me. So it's pretty fucking cool when I'm headlining something and people go out in a different state where I'm from and go see me and buy a ticket. So I was psyched about that. But the audience was good because like, as much as I'm shitting on this guy, Dave went up and did great. So my worry was the audience sucked, but Dave got them right away. And it was like not an issue at all. But like while we're sitting in the back and
Dave
doing whatever.
by going, you're telling me that kid's not 12? Who have I been trying to molest all day then?
Don't worry. And shitting on that guy was my job. And
I figured it was coming.
Yeah. So, but
that's the one thing you grab Dave. You're like, no, I got this, buddy. Just get it back.
No, Dave and I work together enough where he like, I know, like I don't have to say that's your job. I'll shit on the room. You do that. It's like, but about like 8 minutes in, he said something where he mentioned my name. Like he's like, and like Pat, like and yes, my face was on the front of the thing, and that yes, like if you bought a ticket, it said my name. But it's like I said, 5 people knew me. The rest don't. So to reference me like it's like saying like it's like so Chappelle, you know, like they don't know who I am. And at one point I just went, go on. And then everybody kind of laughed at that. He's just like said something like, well, I'm trying. I go, try harder. It was like something to that effect. You know, everybody, the people next to me just started dying laughing, like at that. So I said, you need me to light you. And he's like, no. And he points to his watch. I'm all set. What did he do, Dave? 14 minutes?
He did less than his 20.
Yeah, like significantly less than his 20.
I mean, I trusted his watch, so I didn't time him.
No, but I was not in any way. And so Dave had to like run up there, and Dave went up and did his time. And before Dave went up, Dave and I have this tradition we do where before a show, I say, Dave, do you need a light? And he goes, yeah, I'm doing 25. I'll take a light at 20. And then I go, so Dave, can you also light me at 40? And he goes, sure. And then never does it.
I think
ever does it.
I think
and then says to me afterwards, oh, wait, did we have that conversation? And I go, well, remember when you got a light, asshole? And he's like, oh, yeah.
I think when we worked together, we had a similar situation happen, actually, where I was like, I'll let you, you let me? Yeah, cool. And then,
in fairness to me, it's only a tradition because I forgot twice in a row.
No, that's the 2 I brought up. You've forgotten more than that.
What are you talking about?
And I wish I was the kind of comic who can go, I got this. I don't got this. I go off. So, of course, I did an hour 5.
But that makes up for his time. I get that.
And by the way, I also did. I went up right away and I said, because Dave, the Pat McLeod guy does his 14 minutes. Dave does his time. At one point during Dave's act, Pat turns to me and quietly goes, hey, I did less time so you could do more. And I said, fuck you. And he said, excuse me? I go, don't pull that shit. You did less time because you didn't do your time. I don't need it. I can do an hour if I want. I don't need you to give me time. Who are you? I'm allowed to. And I said, I wasn't being a dickhead, but I was just like, you were given 20 minutes. Take advantage of that situation. I go, you want to go up after Dave and do time? I don't care, but do your time. What's the point of doing this? He's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, I could say, I would tell you need more work. I would go up and do more time. But see, if I don't care, do something. And then Dave said a joke about porn. And he goes, you know what? I've got something for that. Okay, there you go.
Oh, no.
And I don't even,
Dave,
I don't even remember what
I don't remember either.
You didn't ask him?
I had no idea.
Oh, God.
No, but it wasn't good, but it didn't matter. But what it did was it was a callback to an earlier joke he did when they didn't like him.
Nice.
And I remember that. So I went up and he brings me up and I just go, yeah, I get it. I've watched the same show. And they left at that. And I go, I hate this too. And then I was like, keep it going for your host. Hey, a table of 3 had walked in during Dave's act. And I just said, so if you guys didn't get that last joke, he did a callback to a thing that didn't work earlier. He literally said it out loud. And I go, I'm keeping over the host. He tried. And it was like one of the biggest laughs of the night is me saying, because that was the relief of, we can all laugh at that. It's fine. It was like, it was fucking
poor guy.
cool.
So I had no idea that Pat had that conversation about the time. So from my perspective, Pat McLeod gets back up and starts doing time again. And I was just like, what the fuck? They actually had energy. We've built a little bit of steam.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Oh,
Dave walked off to a nice applause. Like, it would have been very easy for me to even go, don't even go back up, Pat. I'll just walk up and grab the mic. Like, it would have been the most sense. Because once again, movie theater, they're sitting in these lounge, like these super comfy chairs. So you're not getting as the biggest laughs because when you're there's a reason why comedy clubs use uncomfortable chairs because it keeps you on your edge, you're laughing and all that. If you're laid back watching a show, you don't laugh as hard. You know what I mean? So to get big laughs out of them was a big deal. You know what I mean? So but everything went good. I did 45 minutes. And then I said, and I've never said this to the audience. I said, I'm working on 3 things that you're all going to hate. You're not going to like it. So if you want to go now, go ahead. But that I saw in their eyes, that was like, no, now we're staying. And I did 3 things and they were fine with it. Like the jokes they're okay. They're just very offensive. And I'm still working on that touch of where you get from the super offensive to now it's also funny. I've still just got more offensive than funny in the story. I'm getting laughs out. But the third story, which I'm still working on it. I'm using it, so I don't want to say what it is, but it centers a lot to do with the word stillborn. And when I was done, I heard one lady go, he's a monster. And I think if I'm gonna name a next album, he's a monster. Might be like, but then the other guy the husband just laughed and goes, it was fun. It was like, but everybody had a good time. But it was a fun show. But this kid afterwards, he had the energy, like he just crushed. I'm like, I want that. I want that delusion of just like you just flat out stink. And I'm sorry, he's a nice kid. And I've known him for a while. And until Dave's like, well, we're talking afterwards, and Dave's like, well, he's new. I go, Dave, I think he's been doing it as long as you have. Like, well, I've known him for years. I mean, even if he's not new. I mean, if he's not like old. I mean, like he's well over 5 years. And to not be able to do 20 minutes when you give you 20 minutes.
Or how about just have one that hits?
He had one thing that hit with you and I because it was the only time he went a little blue, and I forget. It was like, what the fuck? But it was so out of context.
I don't remember. I
don't know, but he was doing like, so these people, what's up with them like that, but like also complaining. So I turned to Dave and I'm like, oh, good. It's Jerry Weinfeld. And then we laughed at that.
Boom.
And then Dave and I laughed so hard that the people next to me heard us and laughed too. And then he goes, those guys in the back love it. And we're like, nope, not you.
That's not helping.
No, I don't want to. Why am I helping him? Why? I don't care about him. It's all about me.
Well, guys, you weren't the only one who played a theater this weekend.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
The Carlisle Theater, buddy, in
Ooh,
Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Start talking. I'll be back 1 second, but go ahead.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so it was cool. I am not a fancy fellow. Like,
what?
If I ever make it like big in life, you know, like Louis C.K. or Chappelle big, like I think my demands are just gonna be like, can I get 2 sugar-free monsters? You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna get more than that. So the way they treated Earl like a king and he let me mooch along with him made me very uncomfortable. Like to the point where they're like, what do you want for he was like, we're ordering food from this restaurant, the theater's ordering it for all of us, what do you want? And then you're like looking at the menu and you're just like, oh, I don't want any of these things because they're way too expensive for me. I'll just get a cheeseburger.
Just because I'm catching up. So somebody was paying for it?
Yeah, like the theater was. Yeah.
Yeah. You and I are similar.
So I just got like a $30 cheeseburger, which was great, but way more than I would have. You know what I mean? So like it makes you uncomfortable, Pat. You're like, I just want the simple things.
Well, I wouldn't order the most expensive thing on the menu, but I would definitely order something that I wanted. I shy away from that.
All the things on the menu, the cheeseburger looked the most appealing.
Okay.
But, I hate the guy that gets like, let me get 2 meals and a dessert and fucking goes to town. It's like, fuck you,
and
dude.
I won't eat before I go on stage.
Oh,
I'm
really?
already low energy enough, and you're just asking to shit yourself if you do that.
It depends how hungry I am. Like I was starving at the end of this trip, so we definitely ate like right before going on stage. And I could.
It was still an hour before. I mean, that's still feasible enough. And you had a wrap and I had a salad, so it's not like you're eating like burgers and shit.
Yeah,
I mean, I have like 2 things I'll eat on a day I'm performing, and like 6 hours beforehand, just because I don't like anything in my stomach when I'm up there.
I once ate a pizza while on stage.
That's awesome. And like if it's a situation where I'm gonna look like a dick if I don't eat. I'll eat. It's not like I'm a diva. It's just like I'd prefer not to. So I have to be like, can you tell this 4-star restaurant to box up the cheeseburger?
Yeah.
You know, that kind
To
of
be
thing.
fair, I ate the pizza when I was on a show that was awful, and it was like one of those like fundraiser things, and the crowd was not listening ever. So I just walked over and grabbed pizza off the table and said, "Since you're not listening, I'm gonna have pizza." And then I just ate during it until they fucking listened, because I was like being a dickhead about it. But like,
That was good. I like
it
that.
worked out. So.
But then you get there and like again, I just want a mic. A lot of times when I work with Earl, I'm the sound guy as well.
How many comics were on the show?
2.
Oh, just you two.
Just the 2 of us. Yeah.
Nice.
And so I get there and they're like,
What does Earl do? Real quick, I'm sorry to cut you up, but what does Earl do in that food situation? Earl's been doing it a long fucking time. Is he like down for I'm having a steak dinner, I don't give a shit, he can just go, or what?
He's training for a contest, like a bodybuilding thing. So
Oh yeah, I forgot.
shit.
he just got specifically like what he wanted. But again, I think he ate half and put the other half in for later.
Yeah, I
which-
forgot he's like a bodybuilding guy. But like, I was wondering, some comics are very good like that. Normally I don't eat or drink or do anything before I go out. I'll bring a water on stage and never even drink the water. I bring coffee and I drink that on stage, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't do that. But some people literally will have a meal right before. I was wondering how he hangs.
I like a lot of energy drink in the stomach. Like one,
Like on an empty stomach.
yeah, like one a certain amount of time before,
Is
and
it?
then a smaller one like right before. But
Do you
that's
get
just-
like jittery?
yeah, I also you've seen me perform. I'm deadpan energy as is. That's me all juiced up. Can you imagine if I was any less
Wow.
down? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but Dave, you were sucking down some of the. You had the 5-hour energy.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying
And
I'm not-
sugar
I'm not
free,
gonna-
not the real shit either.
Okay.
You know? But so we get there. He's like, Earl's like, I just finished sound check. You're up. And the sound guy comes over and he's like, all right, you're on the wired mic. Earl's on the other one. And I was like, all right. He's like, all right, you want to like walk around the stage and see how it sounds in different areas? I was like, nope. I'm going to be right in this 5-step radius. So as long as we're good in this area, buddy, you don't have to do anything else. And so like, then you're just hanging backstage and the theater staff comes back and you're like, I hope you know I'm not important at all. Like you want to talk to that guy. That's the one you want to hang out with. That's the one you want to suck up to. I'm just here out of his generosity. And as I'm going there, like my parents are checking in with me and my dad's like, hey, I think it's the law school's homecoming. I would look into that. And if you don't know, Dickinson Law School is like an international law school, but it's very known for its like liberal tendencies. So I'm up there going like, if this is truly for the Dickinson homecoming, and I'm starting to gather evidence because like the menu is for the Dickinson homecoming menu, and I'm like, oh no. I'm starting to go through my bits like that one's out. That one, you know what I mean? Just I don't want to say anything because it's Earl's show. I don't want to say anything to lose the audience for him. That's all my concern is. But I find out it's not. It's just a live comedy show, thank God.
Right.
We go up. I go start doing my stuff. And Dave, I know I've talked, and the audience knows this, but I don't know if you do. Earl's an old radio guy. So his audiences are like cleaner audiences. I don't do my
Okay.
edgier material as much.
Real quick, Bobby, remember Billy Wynn, Dave?
Yeah.
In the same regards, where Billy
Okay,
used to be on
gotcha.
PLR,
Gotcha.
Comic the Headlines. They actually work together. So it's his area is Billy Wynn.
Gotcha.
And he kind of brought me up. He took me under his wing early on, let me work with him before I should have, things like that. So I don't want to screw up his audience. So I'm starting to test my jokes. And the real gate one I have now is a joke about Penn swimmer Leah Thomas. And they fucking went for it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I kept going edgier and edgier, and they kept going with it and going with it. And I guess like halfway through, Earl poked his head out and went to the security guy. I was like, he's killing. And he was like, yeah, he's doing stuff I haven't ever heard him do before. And it's like, yeah, because
That's
your audience
awesome.
was never open to it. I end with my Jamaica joke. It goes incredibly well. And then they're supposed to be an intermission. So I like, that's my time. Thank you. And then I go to grab the mic again and be like, all right, we're going to take and it's dead. And so everybody's like stops and it's silence and they're just waiting for me to say something and it's not working. And all the momentum I had built up this show
Oh, no.
slowly like withered away.
How big was the show?
500. So
Damn,
it was
nice.
a nice one. Yeah,
That's
it was
fucking
pretty
nice.
cool. And it was just a fun time. It was an awesome opportunity, but it was funny to just be like, yes, now just dismount and you're good, and just slowly watch the train crash as it reached the end of the tracks.
Yeah, but that's cool. That feeling is now. Was it 500 people in a theater that holds 600, or 500 holds like a couple thousand?
I
Good
think
question,
it's like
Pat.
750 because there's an upper balcony as well.
Okay.
So like
So they
in
didn't
the
seat
area,
that.
they didn't seat the balcony, but there were probably 20 seats left in the actual theater.
No, so other words, my question, I've done a theater before that's been jam-packed. The biggest one I ever did was 1,400 filled, and that was insane. That wave of laugh is crazy. When 400 to 500 people are sitting together in one spot like they were for you, it's a different feel, but it's also different in your pacing and how you do things, because
Yeah.
the laugh comes at different waves and shit. But I've also done a theater once where it held 1,500 and there was 200.
I've done
And
that one
200
too.
is a great number, but not when it holds 1,500s, and they spaced them out because they bought seats. So there were people in the balcony, there were people, and it was like, boo, this stinks.
I got booked to open for Matt Bronger at where the hell, I can't remember if it was New Hampshire or whatever, but it was a performing arts center. It was a 2,200 seat house. I got there and I'm feeling like I'm a fucking grown up.
Yeah.
And I get there and I'm like, hey, nice to meet you, talking to the staff. And then they're like, okay, right this way. And apparently the theater has a back room and that's where we were performing. Like, for fuck you.
There's a place in Norwalk, Connecticut called like the Wall Theater or whatever, the Wall Street Theater. And so I was there, and there was I got asked last second, like, the opener can't make it. Can you come open for, what the fuck's the kid's name? Matt, shit. Young black kid out of New York. He was hosting like this like internet like trivia show for a while that people would watch like every day. He's a funny kid. I want to say Matt Johnson. It's not that, but it's something like that. Matt something. Anyway, funny fucking kid, but he was getting a little bit of hype. And what?
LeBlanc?
No. Not black comic, not white hack friends guy. But hey, Joey.
You remembered LeBlanc's name. You didn't remember this guy's.
Yeah, I remember the hacks, Tamburo. Anyway. But so when they called me, I was excited because it's at this little theater, but I've been heard of people do it. It's like a little like 1,000-seat theater. And my kids were with me, and Dan Brown was living with me at the time, and I'm like, we're all gonna go. So anybody can come, it's fine. We get there, the stage was set up in the lobby.
Oh no! Oh fuck!
There was
no.
20.
No,
there was 22 people there,
Nice.
and 22 people there, including my kids and Dan Brown, to watch this thing. And it was like,
That's
ooh.
awesome.
Yeah. So like right behind us was the door to the good part. And we just stood in front of it and told jokes.
I had the opposite experience that you were describing earlier of a good number, but just not in the theater, in the inside of the Wall Street Theater once. So
Nice.
might not have been better on the inside.
Never seen
But
it.
just so you guys know, that story wasn't bragging. It was just a fun and parallel in comedy. Is the next night I got to do a Carucci gig.
Steamroller. We're mentioning him a lot now on shows, but I love Rich Carucci.
I love
miss
Rich
that guy. I want to
Carucci.
see him again.
And to be fair, after I kind of busted his balls a little bit on the last one about the two guys there, he was like, I got a good one for you. And Gino had to skip this one. Like, I wasn't supposed to be in the lineup. Gino had to bail last second. And it is the shows I grew up hearing about. An old school Brooklyn show. Just killer after killer after killer of old guys you would never hear of.
Yep.
And it's, Dave, I don't know if you've been to Bullseye, but it's like
No, I'm just looking up Rich Carucci.
it's a bar in Italian Brooklyn.
He's a comic
That's
out of
fucking
New Jersey,
great.
correct? Yeah, that's where he's out of. When I first started, he booked me on a bunch of like Firehouse shows and shit
Yep.
like that. He's just a guy that put on some good gigs, and his crowd work was good. He's like a bulldog on stage, right in your face, tough Jersey guy, but funny shit. Not famous anyway, but like
No, but he's famous in the sense that I don't know how young you were, Pat, but like he gives guys a shot on things.
That's
kinda
why I
like
was getting
Earl.
him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know. If
I
it
was a year in. I was
Okay. Yeah. You,
I
like,
was
guys who probably
like,
shouldn't
he was like,
be.
you want to drive from Connecticut to New Jersey? I got you. He also knew that I booked things, so he was like, and I can do yours. And that was he was very open with that. I never cared, but
Yeah.
we would go up and you would do that shit. I was driving at times. I was like, fuck, I'll go to Jersey and do a show. I don't give a shit.
During the pandemic, he was like, yeah, dude, if you're willing to drive the 3.5 hours from Hershey to this strip club to perform for 3 other comedians, yeah, anytime. And
And
I
he
took
always
him up on it.
paid.
Yeah. But anyway, I was really looking forward to this because it's the shows you heard about. It's this old bar. During the pandemic, when they couldn't have people inside, they paved their parking lot and built literally a stage to keep comedy going. So it's a stage built
That's
into this
awesome.
back patio. Otto and George set up the gig originally, and when they passed, Rich kind of took over.
Nice.
Sorry, I got a hair in my mouth.
I got to open for Otto and George 4 different times.
Nice.
And Otto and I had one of the best conversations, and it was like, it's funny because not that I ever get sad when people are like dead and I'm not saying we were close in any way, but like one time we were probably more than 4 times. You know what? To be honest, yeah, it had to be like 7 or 8 times because like we did a couple weekends together, so like gig wise, but whatever. Anyway, all different kinds of venues too. But and it wasn't like I was his opener. It just happened to be that we worked together. I did book him at Joker's because I wanted Biker Gang to see him, and he was mad because he didn't draw. But everyone's like, "This was the greatest thing ever." Him and that puppet, it was awesome. He was the first comic I ever saw live. When I was in college, we went to this place called the Side Street Grill in Hamden, Connecticut.
Oh yeah,
and have comedy there. And all me and my college buddies went and saw Otto and George, who we had heard about on Howard Stern. He had plugged being at Side Street in Hamden. So we were like, that bar we get hammered at? Okay. So we went there, and it was awesome because it's all college kids there. And he's got the puppet, and it's turned around, and people are walking around. He hasn't said anything yet. And a black guy walks by, and the puppet just goes, guilty. And the whole place explodes. And you're like, what the fuck? And then he kept talking about women's snaggle pussy, you know, he goes, snaggle pussy. Like, it has to say his teeth. We were running around in our rugby house for 2 weeks yelling snaggle pussy at each other, whatever. But I had a conversation with Otto one time about he loved old Westerns, like the old spaghetti Westerns and shit like that. And my grandfather used to watch those, and I would sit with him and watch those. And so, like, we had a good conversation. He goes, oh, if you like that stuff, I'll send you some shit. Now, all I knew was the stuff I watched with my grandfather. I didn't know names, things like that. But Otto was having a good time, and he didn't seem like a guy who liked to talk to people much. He had told me that. So I'm like, sure. So once a week in my Twitter DM, I would just get sent, like, he didn't know how to send links or anything back then. He would just take a screenshot of what he was watching. Goes, this one's good. And there was no name or anything.
God, it's just literally a screenshot. Not even like of the box. Oh, that's so funny.
Of like a guy on a horse. He's like, this, you know this? And I go, yeah, it's a horse. And he's like, haha. But that would be it. Whatever. But he was awesome.
I never got the chance to work with him, but I like him twofold. One, any comedian I liked growing up would reference working with Otto and George and how legendary they were. And the other reason is he took very good care, and to this day, like, the family still takes very good care of Big A. Like, anytime they do a show or the show's done in his honor, Big A's there and treated like one of the guys, and it's just a really cool thing to see that. But
I'll tell you right now, Bobby, if Otto saw what you just said,
he'd call me the F word.
No. He would have respected you. Do you know why? Do you know in what you said that would have made him happy? It's not the charity, and it's not anything else. It's not the respect. There was something he was a stickler on, and you did it without even knowing you did it.
Oh, saying they? Yeah, I just refer to them as a group at this point.
No, and he always said they. We are a team. George was a person. I know I've told this story on here, but we're doing Otto and George. So I might as well do it again.
Yeah, why not, dude? It's a Rich Carucci, Otto, and George night. You want me to call Carucci and see if he's available?
Not for this one, but I would like to have him on.
I would love to have him.
No, please, I would love to have him on. Carucci would be someone to talk about the Jersey. I want to talk about the comics he's had on the Fire Show, shit like that, the stuff he's seen. He's friends with some fucking killers, too. And he's also funny and quick. I would love to have Carucci on. If you can get him on or ask Gino to get him on, I would love that. Yeah. I'd reach out, but I haven't talked to him in like 10 years, but not today. But like, so anyway, Johnny Rizzo, who I've mentioned before, and Dave, you know who Johnny is.
Yep.
Johnny's a Connecticut legend, but no, I've mentioned him on the show before. But Johnny told me this story where he was, and I heard it from Otto as well. They were performing together. The two of them, I think it was a Brad Axelrod gig or something like that. They were traveling in the car, and George was treated like his child. Like, George was not thrown in a box. George sat in a car seat in the back seat.
That's tremendous.
And Otto would go in. Well, I say they. Sometimes when Otto felt like it, he would have conversations with you through George, and he wasn't on stage because it didn't matter because he moved his mouth all the time anyway. That was the beauty of Otto and George. He wasn't. He was the world's worst ventriloquist. He moved his fucking mouth. But what George said was so fucked up that people didn't even look at Otto because everything crazy was coming out of George, so you didn't care. Literally, I know I've said this. I've 3 different times I saw people rush the stage to fight a puppet.
I was about to say that. You said I saw a guy take a swing and a miss at a puppet once.
I heard the story where a guy went up with a knife to the puppet.
Jesus Christ.
And he goes, "What are you going to do? I'm made of wood. Whittle me?" That's what he had the puppet say back to the guy. It's like a legendary. I've heard that. Like, what are you going to do?
Fucking A, that's great.
But anyway, so they're the 2 of them are driving back from a gig, and they're talking and playing some music, whatever. And Johnny says something, and it's a silence. And then George from the back, while they're driving, goes, "Hey, you piece of shit! Shut up, you cocksucker, whatever." And then Johnny's like, "Funny, Otto, cut the shit. We're just driving in the car now." And they're about the gate. They're tired. They're a little bit drunk, whatever it is. And so George just keeps insulting Johnny Rizzo from the back seat the entire time. And then Otto would turn and go, "George, behave," and then do it. And so he's scolding, and then literally, that's how insane this man was. I mean, brilliant. But he's having 2 conversations going, and literally like what you call it, like Psycho, and I feel like that, like the boy and his mother, but one of them's not alive, but we're having conversations. He's doing his whole thing, and at one point, Johnny goes, "Fucking pull over." He boot now, so he pulls over and he grabs the keys. He goes in the back. He grabs the fucking puppet. He opens the trunk. He throws the puppet in the goddamn trunk. He closes it, gives him the keys. He goes, "Keep the fucking just stop, enough." They're driving like 3 minutes in silence, and finally hear, "It's hot here, you cocksucker. Let me out." It was just beautiful. It was a great. I did a show on Martin Luther King Day with Dr. Dirty John Valby, who sings the N-word nonstop, Otto and George, and me. And I'm like, how racist do they think I am?
Yeah, dude.
When you're on that, and that is the one I've told about this too. But afterwards, someone in the audience goes, "Hey man, it's cool to see. I've never seen you before," because they were here for the other 2, obviously. And they're like, first of all, doing it on Martin Luther King Day in the casino. When the Browns did that, I was like, what did they like? We weren't thinking. We just always gave him they always gave Dr. Dirty a 3-day weekend because people would party hard on a Sunday and they didn't care. So he would pack it out. Like he still does. Now he doesn't even have openers. He's still doing the shows there and packs out the place. But they did. I suggested have Otto and George with them because they were friends. I thought it'd be awesome. And then they're like, well, since you know them, you can be on the show too. But yeah, Martin Luther King Day was bad. But afterwards, a guy came up to me, fired up with his girlfriend. They're wearing Confederate flag T-shirts, the 2 of them. And the guy, this is Connecticut. This is like a couple years ago. It was like 1968 or since Alabama. But like, so the guy looks at me and goes, "You were great, man. Crazy to see you were hilarious. I didn't know about you at all. That's awesome." He's like, "You didn't say the N-word." And I go, "Yeah, I don't do that." He goes, "You should. It's great."
Jesus Christ.
I mean, know your audience, Pat. That's rule 1.
All I said was, I leave it to the professionals. He goes, "That's a good call. Good call."
That is awesome. But we get to this show, and it's, again, a bunch of old Brooklyn guys. And it's amazing the psychology you can do on a show.
Would you mind
like
naming
that.
the guys? Do you know who they were?
I can name a couple.
Okay.
Andy Troy.
No.
Evan Wise.
Ooh. Okay. I'm not gonna be a dick, but he was good.
Not all of them got the same reception as others, and I would say
I appreciate
the 2
you very
I
much.
named first might be going in order of hilarity.
Dave, Evan Weiss. I'm doing comparisons for you. Evan Weiss is the Vinny Beetle of that area.
Okay. Okay.
Johnny O. Do you know
Johnny O?
Yeah, Johnny O was on there.
Johnny O is the man,
He's
and
a
Johnny
murderer.
O was the opener for Otto and George. Like
Yep.
they went everywhere. Johnny and Otto were close. I had when Otto passed, we had Johnny at the club to headline, and he's like, no one headlined me. Like we just loved Johnny. Was just a fucking great guy and funny.
And
I didn't know he was
he's
still doing
also, I went up to him afterwards and was like, dude, it was awesome to see you do that. That was incredible. And he was just
He's
like,
good.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't like that. You know what I mean? So that was one of the guys.
Old school though. Like I don't know if the younger fans of comedy would dig what he does, but man, he works the stage, brother. He's great.
And again, in this crowd of like 50 just old school Italians murdered.
Dude, I'm looking up all these guys because I'm like, I
They're
don't
not-
recognize.
they
You're
are guys
never
that
going to
have
find them.
They're not
It's
gonna have
okay.
web presence. They're just not.
Jeffrey Paul.
Yep, Jeff Paul. Okay. Oh, what was the show? All the guys who used to book shit in Brooklyn?
It's an Otto and George like show, and they do it for Christmas too, where it's
that
a
makes
tribute to
sense.
them. Yeah. And then Steve Marshall was the headliner.
Oh, Steve Marshall. See, when I first started, once again, dude, they're so old, Dave. You're not going to find them on site.
Still going to look.
Dude, you're going to find football players.
Before
Steve
you
Marshall,
say this, Pat, can I just say one thing real quick?
Please.
If you get the opportunity to see Steve Marshall, like wherever he's performing, go do it. It was incredible. I work with a guy very similar, Earl, and just the way he did things, like in his own way, was just brilliant. Sorry, go ahead, Pat.
I was just going to say, Steve Marshall is a guy that we used to have through before I booked Jokers, they had hired a booker who booked older school guys. And Steve Marshall was one of the guys we would have. But I had never met him. Every time he had gone to Jokers, I had a gig somewhere else. I wasn't there. I got doing a gig at Dangerfields one time years ago. And
dude.
There was a bunch of people on the show. Quentin Higgs was hosting it, stuff like that. And Steve Marshall was on the show. And Steve did his thing. And even though there wasn't a lot of people there, Steve fucking murdered. And I was like, ooh, I get now. People are talking about this is a guy, old school style, but murderer. Jokes are tight. Crowd work's good. Quick off the riff, all that kind of shit. And I went up and I'm newer, but I have a certain style the way I do things too, whatever. And he grabbed me afterwards. He goes, I'm sure people have said this to you a lot. And I'm waiting to be like, you're too dirty or whatever. And he goes, do you like jazz? I go, not really. And he goes, well, that's weird because you have a certain way of when you tell jokes, it feels like jazz music where you don't go with the rhythm, you go against, but there's a pattern to every way you tell a joke. And I'm sitting there going, dude, this guy paid that much attention to me where this is not a thing he just says to someone. That'd be weird if that's just his pickup line to comic. Other words, you know what I mean? Like whatever. And he's like, no, the way you did, he's naming shit. And he goes, I really like it. People are going to tell you to stay in your own, to go more cookie cutter. This is where you thrive. Keep going with that. There was one joke you did that wasn't like that, and the audience felt the difference. So hopefully I'll see you around. Good luck. I'm like, what the fuck? That was fucking cool. That's all I know him as. I don't think he'd remember me ever, but it was just so cool that he said that.
I'm glad you said that because that actually comes up a little later in this story.
He said you like jazz?
No. But
fuck. That guy just fucks everybody.
No. So we all get outside. We're hanging around in a circle. Rich wanders over and he's like, hey, all right, who wants to go first? And I'm not really supposed to be on the show, so I just keep my mouth shut. And you know how like the other guys are. They're like, whatever, I don't care. And this is where you can tell the psychology of a room because two people go, hey, Bobby, didn't you say you wanted to go first? And I just smiled and went, hey, I'll go first, Rich, whatever, no biggie. But it was not Steve Marshall, we'll say that. And he kind of took note of what went down and kind of smiled. And then I went up and did my thing, and it went well. I just came off a big show the night before. I'm still riding that high, you know. Yeah. Not many people remember Kobe scored 53 points the night after he scored 80. You know, you're still riding that good to go. Have a good set.
Well, I know Kobe's not talking about it now.
I'm going to go fly a helicopter. Fingers crossed.
Maybe he should have used his fingers here.
Let's just say...
What did Kobe fly?
That's why they crashed. He's like, put your hands on the wheel, Kobe.
What did Kobe fly after he flew the helicopter?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to know.
A flag at half mast.
Okay.
I thought that was a good bit.
I'm good with that. I can live with that. That's good.
That was the best we could do with fake Ari Shaffir over here. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know, they're still calling him bomb threats, right, Dave? But the guy follows me, doesn't have the best time getting started. Maybe he shouldn't have worn a rhinestone jacket in Brooklyn. But that guy continued to fuck with me the rest of the night and is continuing to up to this day. And I don't know if he's fucking with me or if he's just one of Rich's special friends. Because after the show, we're exchanging numbers, and this guy goes, oh, dude, what were you were sitting over in the corner, right? And I was like, no, I performed right before you. And he's like, oh, yeah, you were with your girlfriend over there, right? And I was like, no, I brought you on stage. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay, all right. Well, here's my number. I do a bunch of these parties and stuff. It would be awesome to see you in the audience again. And he keeps texting me, like, events and parties he has. And I keep responding with, you know I'm a comedian. And he's like, yeah, dude, it'd be great to see you in the audience again. And I don't know if he's fucking with me or what.
Who is this? Say who it is. I want him on the show. Who is this?
No, it's Andy Troy, but no.
Dave, look him up.
I'll send
Done
you a
and
pic.
done.
But
Fuck that
afterwards,
guy.
Steve kills, and he's like, hey, man, you know you had a good set, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, do you like ska? music?
No, he didn't.
No. But he did do the same thing where he pulled me
Fuck
aside
you.
and commented on details of my set that like he shouldn't have noticed and cared about.
He pays
It wasn't
attention.
the same
He loves
scoffing.
comedy. He's really into it.
And
he's a guy that I'm sure a lot of people aren't picking the brain of, and they should, because you can learn so much from him.
And he gave me 3 things that I implemented and have been killing since. So.
Yeah, in that room, and Joker's Wild, we had like 12 framed pictures of like really old headshots. 2 of them you worked with this weekend.
That's incredible.
I think they were next to each other. Right next to the bathroom with all the people where Dave would just go, "Who the fuck is that?" and then try to look them up. It's like, Dave, stop looking people up. It's like
I found Andy Troy. He does have a sequin jacket. So it's the guy.
His whole bit was about how he dresses gay but isn't gay, and it just did not fly in Italian Brooklyn.
No.
They're like, you can say that, but we don't believe you.
I mean,
all of us concur that you're gay.
You should have just stopped there. We were on your side when you said that.
Stop being gay.
And like only at a gig like that does like somebody come and put their arm around you that you don't recognize, and you're like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, "I'm Paul." And you're like, "Am I supposed to know you, Paul?" And he's like, "That's my mom. She owns the place. I'm kind of important." You're like, "All right, buddy," and you just hang out there too long.
Oh, when you said that reminded me, I didn't say anything before. When going back to the Earl David Reed story, when you were at that theater and then you had said, "Hey, I'm not the important one," and I understand what you were saying there, but and I know that Earl's not this way, so I'm not saying him. I'm just saying in general. What I found out the couple of times I got to be behind theaters or work with things like that, a lot of times the opening act is told to be the mouthpiece for the headline. And a lot of them are told to go to the opening. Like when I got to open for Jim Jeffries or people like that, and I got to do small little things like that nature. A lot of times, it's not like he said it, but he would be like, "Hey, let them know this or that," because they just wait in that room or they don't want to be bothered, so they're doing their shit. So it's kind of our job. So that's when they go over to you and treat you good. In their mind, they're treating him good because you're that thing. So, and also,
and I do that for Earl a lot. Like I usually am the mouthpiece. I told you last week how Greg and I walked over to the car and he just pretended like he was on the phone and texted me because he didn't want to talk to the lady running the thing. Like, you know, so I get where that's coming from. But my point was,
I actually know Earl David Reed.
Yeah, you should
just look him up.
I mean, you did some Treehouse shit. You probably did it with him.
Yeah, no, the reason I know him, he wouldn't know me from the hole in the ground, but a friend of mine's like, "Oh, my friend, this kid I grew up with is a comedian." So she took me to his show and, we talked a little bit afterwards, but yeah, he was funny as fuck. Nice guy too.
I would love it if he was outside. There was you and then a hole in the ground. And he goes, "I don't get the difference."
Hole in the ground's pretty funny too. I don't know.
That was nice of you to say too. I can't wait till Dave becomes Earl David Hintz and he's just going around. Dude, please start being
Let
Earl
me
David
open
Hintz.
for you.
Yes. Yep.
Fuck.
Dave would have got more food.
Absolutely.
When that Cities team, they would always take care of you on the food. And I remember, I forget, I would, me, I would definitely say their name. I just don't remember it. One of the first couple times I'd been there, you could get whatever you want. They take care of you all fucking weekend long.
Said you can have whatever you like.
But they should have just sang that. It's like that.
That song's about a sugar daddy.
The menu's crazy. Basically, if they had strippers, you could have had one of those. I remember who the fuck it was. They ordered 4 fucking desserts. All right, not like one each night. They got 4 fucking desserts because they took 2 home after they had like a meal, and I'm like, this is insane. Like. I mean, they were the host too. Like, you're getting $50 a show. You're not really something special. You're taking more out of that. Like, well, they said you could. I'm like they say a lot of things. You don't do that.
And it's like they're obviously doing that. Where some clubs are like, you can order this if you're the host. You can order this if you're the feature. You can order this. So like they're going out of their way to be nice, and they're taking care of starving comedians. Don't take advantage of them, or the next guy's not going to get hooked up.
Well, it's funny because then sometimes people will be like, when they work with me, they're like, "Oh, so you get like, how many free drinks do you get as headliner?" I'm like, "I'm sure if I drank, I could get free. I don't even ask or whatever." Like, "Oh, can I have yours?" I'm like, "No." I mean, they already know I don't drink. And now why do we need you to get sauced for free? Maybe not have 12 drinks at the show. You know what I mean? You don't need to.
Realize that there are people working behind the bar too. Like that's their
Yeah.
income that you're chipping out of. So after a certain amount, pay some back and realize, all right, you should never
I feel-
spend more than like you're making on the show. Obviously,
I feel bad when whenever I walk in, I just don't have cash on me because I just want a glass of water, but I'd like to give you $1 at least because
Yeah, I'm the same
and
way,
I fucking hate it. I hate it when I don't have.
Well, that's why I'm
anything on
very
me.
happy when most clubs have like bottles of water in the green room or something.
Yeah,
It's like you
yeah.
don't have to deal with that anyway. But like, still, if a waitress comes in and say, "Do you need anything?" I think give her something. If I know I'm somewhere for a weekend, I at one point during the weekend find cash and give somebody a 20 at the end of the weekend. Hey, and I usually do it to the. I'll ask the waitress that's there the first day, "Are you here for the rest of the week?" Like usually the place will give you the same person. If it's different people, then I guess I'll tip separately to each one of them. But when you're getting the same one, you can do that. But there's been times where I don't drink. I didn't get anything. I brought my own coffee. They didn't give me anything, but the opening acts drank heavily and ate, and you can see the wait staff is upset at the end because they're like, "Oh, there's no tip," and then like they're not tipping, but they're looking at me because I'm the headliner because they're not thinking about who got what, and I'm like, I
Right.
didn't get it. So I'll throw them a couple bucks. I feel bad, but I'm like, you fuckers tip. You were animals. You had 2 meals. You fucking drank hard. You were getting like, or the asshole on stage who's like, because it's free. They go, someone in the audience, "Oh, get that guy a drink," and then like the club's paying for it. It's like, don't do that. The club wants to make money off that guy. Like
he'll get his own drink.
After shows, sometimes people want to buy me drinks, and I don't drink, but I will sometimes be like, "Yeah, sure," and then they'll buy me a drink. I'll just stand next to it, and when they leave, I kind of give it to the bartender. I let the bar make money. They felt good buying me the drink, whatever. Because if they're drunk, they're not going to hear, "Buy me a coffee, buy me a water." So I let them buy me a drink or a shot, and I go, "I'm good for now," and it sits there. If they're going to hang, like, "Can I have a drink with you?" Then I tell them,
I'm not.
"Hey,
I don't
I'll
drink. Grab me a
hang
coffee,
with you, but I'll take a coffee or water, or I'll just sit with you while you drink. I don't mind chatting." But if they just want to buy me something, I let them buy the thing. I say to the bartender, "Don't really make the money back to the bar, get the tip, take care of them." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm a nice guy.
If anyone ever offers to buy me a drink after a show, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, people aren't gonna do that to you.
No.
You say you look like rape.
It's not a bad bit, dude.
He had
Thank
a bit where he made fun of Lizzo, and I didn't know people in New Hampshire cared about Lizzo, but they do.
I didn't know you'd never heard that because I was like, fuck. I'm sure I've said that in front of you before.
No, I didn't know you had diabetes. I knew you did AIDS. I knew you did rape. I didn't know you did diabetes.
It's new. It's newer.
Diabetes is not newer. It's been around
Getting
a
it
long
in
time.
the mix.
Working
just
Wilford
collecting.
Brimley's been singing its praises for a long time.
I have diabetes.
I did an open mic on Sunday in a place called Bishop's Lounge. It's in Northampton, Massachusetts, and it's known for its very, very liberal, very like most of the audience, the people at the club itself. It's on the 3rd floor of a place. It's usually either lesbians or feminists or transsexual,
And for
not
those
the comics.
reasons, I'm out.
Yes. Well, what I do is I go there. And usually, Bobby, I agree with you, but I go there and I like to take once in a while before COVID, I would take a material that I wanted that I knew was edgy, but wasn't sure if it was ready to be a joke or was offensive. Because if I brought it there and I'm testing out the idea and they laugh and don't get offended, then I almost need to add a little bit more to it. To me, I'm like, it's too soft for what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they just fucking coil, I know I need to pull back. So it's a good testing ground.
Yeah.
And
I
I've
get
watched
that.
some comics do some weird shit there. Like one comic I know went there and he's like, white comic, and he's like, it was a great story and he ran it by me, but he did say the N-word in it, but it made sense in the joke because it was everything about the conversation. It was real, whatever. I'm like, try it there. This story has like feeling to it and heart, and they're on board. Then he said it, and they all just like literally turned around and stared at the wall, like they couldn't handle what happened. Like that's how they are. So I hadn't been there in a long time, and Dan Brown wanted to go, and so I was like, "Oh, I'll take the ride. It's like an hour or so up." But besides one woman who
All right, Dan, but don't tell your N-word story again.
and then the N-word touched me.
Did I mention he was a retarded N-word?
Whenever I wake up like an N-word in the back of a trunk. he did that.
Shit.
He did that joke where I love it. He's finished the joke, and his next line is, "Whenever I wake up, duct tape, when I'm not duct taped in the back of a trunk, I always think at least somebody loves me." And this lady goes, "Oh God!" Like just out loud. But he fuck no. So we're at this my whole thing was thrown off with the damn thing. So we get to this mic, and it's a lot of older comics that I know that I hadn't seen in a while, but not really anyone that I think a lot of comics with the same idea as me, like, oh, let's test something out. But for that night, maybe one or two gay people, but for mostly it was just like comics and not really that audience. And it was funny. And the woman that usually hosts it, she was too high on edibles to host. And she, as we call her, AIDS cookie lady, because she has AIDS. And one time she would make she used to make cookies, and nobody would eat the cookies. And the same comic who said the N-word thing one time, she offered him a cookie. He goes, "I'm good." She goes, "Well, you don't like cookies?" He goes, "I don't like AIDS."
See, given that knowledge, it feels like he knew what he was doing when he said the N-word.
Oh, he's always calculated, but he knew. Oh no, he knew what he was doing, but he knew that if the story was so good that they would allow him to say it, then he could do it on stage at other places. If they got mad, then he's not even going to try it, and he didn't never try it afterwards, whatever. But anyway, so we go to this mic, and the one lady, she goes up and she's like, "I was supposed to host," and she's like in her 60s, and I thought she was a transsexual, but I've been told she's not. I'm like, she looks like an old man with a wig. Like, no, that's just an old lady with AIDS.
Damn.
So I didn't know. And she's been in the comic world. She's a very sweet person, whatever. And I've known her for a little while, whatever. But she goes up and she's just fucking high as shit. She'd been doing dabs and edibles all day because she didn't think she was hosting. And she had this even older friend, like the 70-year-old lady. She goes, and she doesn't like to leave the house when she's tripping balls. But once I found out I had a host, I dragged her with me. So she was our only audience member.
Willy Wonka open mic horseshit is this?
Dude, it was crazy. Funny you say that.
Christ.
The curtains were all different colors and the lights were all different rainbow colors. So one comic goes, "Are we in the tunnel of Willy Wonka's fucking place?" He even said that, and it looked all nuts. So she goes up and goes, "I'll do time anyway," and does 7 minutes on how her jaw hurts because she sucked the biggest cock she had ever seen. And it was like, she goes, "Guys, since there's all guys here, what's the point of when I'm already crying and gagging and tears are coming down to tap the back of my head? I'm as far as I can go." And so everyone's quiet. And this one comic in the corner just goes, "It makes it tighter." And I walked up and I go, "I don't care what else happens tonight. You're my favorite scientist. I love you, sir." He was all genuine. It makes it tighter. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, it was crazy, that mic.
Excuse me, who's hosting? Where's the list? All right, I'm gonna scratch my name off. I'm gonna get out of here. This wasn't for me.
No,
I was mistaken.
I went up and I've been working on this bit that I did years ago. It didn't work. I tried again now about a friend of mine killing himself. So I tell that there. It's a good. But Dave's heard the bit. It works, but it's just like this crowd, the ones that were there, it does that thing where it gets emotional for a minute, and then I'm an asshole with a pun, and you watch them just get mad at the pun at the end. So I started to do it, and this one lady in the back, the same woman who got mad at Dan's show, just goes, "That was your friend." like it's like, shut the fuck up. Why are you buying into the joke so hard?
It was my friend.
It was my friend.
He's not going to be offended by it now, you stupid bitch.
I think we did it. Right?
Did what?
We did it. This is a show. We did it.
I'm pretty sure I nailed it.
It was a good one.
No, I'm saying we could call it.
Yeah.
Like your friend?
You can't call him.
I mean, we started at what, 9? It's almost 10, 9, 10. Whatever. Yeah, we did it long enough.
Better hope you're Adele.
Yeah.
Hello from the other side.
See, that shows people's ages. When I hear hello or calls, I think Lionel Richie, but younger people think Adele. It's always a different. It's kind of like when I say Uncle Jesse, who do you think of? You can tell someone's age by that.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Right, you're old, but Bobby would be like Full House.
Yeah, no, I thought that too, and then I went to Dukes of Hazzard.
I didn't.
That's why I used to do a bit and say that you could tell someone's age, and I would never fuck Dukes of Hazzard. Like, Full House pussy for me, baby. All right, Dave. Part 2 of pretending you have things to promote. I know where you'll be November 15th. Oh, by the way, Bobby, I forgot that part. That's the best part of the story. So as we get there and we know it's going to be this kid, and then we find out, he's terrible. He goes, so I was saying, he goes, oh, is it a far ride for you? I'm like, yeah, it's like 3 hours. But I'm doing a show for the same booker in the same town at a different place. And I go, yeah, Dave's coming back with me November 15th. And he goes, I'm on that show too. We're like, motherfucker.
Yes. All right, buddy.
Not if I have any say in it.
Gotta be good times.
I know you're going to be November 15th. Where else?
November 15th, I'm going to be doing that show. And then before that, I'm going to be out and about. Find out where on Dave Hintz Comedy on Facebook.
But you don't post anything on there. Why are you sending people this?
Because it's the only thing I have to say.
You need some stuff to say. We got to get you a podcast. I want the Dave Hintz podcast.
So do I. I just don't know what it's going to be about.
What do you mean? We don't know what this is about.
I think you should combine your two loves in life. The first half should be like teaching dance, and the second half should be making fun of the people you're teaching how to dance.
Nice.
Dave. Can we teach special needs people how to dance?
So you think you can dance? Well, you're wrong. You suck.
No, dances with the tards instead of stars.
I thought we were doing so you think you're retarded, and then you just rank them.
That's like a 6.
It's passable.
That's like fetal alcohol syndrome at best.
You call that fetal alcohol syndrome?
Your head looks normal.
I would barely let you park in the first row.
He only tried to high five me once.
Your hands are dry. They're not even sticky.
Yeah, I can tell you like ice cream, but where's your boner?
There's been a girl in the corner for 45 minutes, and you haven't tried to hump her once.
Which one of you has to be locked up sometimes? A buddy of mine had a brother that was one of those. Like, he'd be cool around some people, but we had this one roommate that at our rugby house, and we'd go over my buddy's family home. For some reason, the guy, the retarded brother, did not like him. So he would see him and go, the guy's name was Mike Kula. We called him Kula, and he'd just hear, Kula. Kula. So, and Mike didn't know he was there one time. We went to another family member's party at the house for like a Super Bowl, and they didn't know they brought the retarded brother. And, he turns on, he goes, hey guys, and you hear, Kula. Like, oh, no. And he turns, he goes, oh, hey, how are you? And he goes, like, give him some Doritos, and he grabbed the bag and threw the bag at him.
Man.
So as the Doritos are on the ground and the retarded guy's all mad, getting ready to Hulk the way through it, I walked over and I was pretty drunk. And he started eating the Doritos off the ground. It's whatever. It's fine.
Oh, fuck.
Kula had to sit the other side of the room. And we're watching a Super Bowl, and half the time, you see Mike just turn his head, and then the guy be like, just go.
That kid's the man.
Yeah, he was awesome. They had to put him in a room once, and he ran his head through the sheetrock and knocked himself out.
That's determination.
So he would win that contest about Dave's show.
Yeah, he ran his head through a sheetrock, but this kid could legally be aborted in Texas. So
let's move to Texas.
Fuck.
All right. So Dave, you got nothing, Bobby?
Check out Bobby's World over on Compound Media. It's a sketch show I got. Check out the Dave Max Sports program. Check out The Dump. Check out our Patreon. I'm performing stand-up with Gino this Saturday and maybe Friday. And then Sunday's the big one, Brooklyn Comedy Club, 6 p.m. I'm technically headlining that show, which just means I'm doing 5 minutes more than everybody else. It also means we don't have anybody else that we think can move tickets. So please, for the love of God.
I don't know how many tickets he would move, but you guys should get Pete on those shows. He's up there now, and he's starting to get a couple people to come to things. He's past the stand, and he's doing a lot of shit. So Metal Pete might be you got to get a couple people to come.
Yeah, that's I don't do a lot of the booking.
No, but I'm saying you can mention to Stevie. I'm saying.
Yeah, we could definitely do.
Because I asked Stevie, and he's just like, "Sure, I'll get you on the next one." There's been 2 since, so fuck you, Stevie.
We'll talk off air about why that's happening.
Nope. Every time we talk about off air, what's happening, it just makes me sadder, Bobby.
Well, my
All my
heroin
dreams
addiction
go
isn't
away.
a joke. So if you can't join and
You know
beat
what,
him,
though? You're pretty silly at it. Don't I get the plug shit?
I forgot about that. I was just trying to get out of here on
Yeah.
a heroin addiction joke.
You know what?
I gotta go. I gotta drag into Chase, Pat. I'll be right back.
Look at you using the belt wrong.
My parents
You know what?
caught
I'm
me.
not
They're
plugging shit. Go ahead, Bobby.
My parents caught me. They're just happy it's around my arm, not my neck for once. Go ahead, Pat. Tell them your dates.
That's okay. They're like,
Tell them your birthday
wants,
show, though.
Your sister wants to be a nurse, so that's a way. Show her how to find a vein, Bobby. It's fine.
Oh, these veins, they pop. Anyway, tell them
That's your toes, you animal. Do it your eyeball like a gentleman.
Bobby, I think you meant burst.
No, Bobby, no offense, but at this point, the people that watch this aren't local to where I am. I've learned that. So
I was just trying to plug your birthday show.
No, and I appreciate that, but tickets are flying, and we're happy to have it. I'm actually, the announcement I might be having soon is that place I'm doing shows at, and we're going to start doing a weekly open mic there on Thursdays. But the guy who owns it, who used to be a comic, and it's like not digging having a restaurant anymore with this extra space. We are talking about it becoming just like a comedy club. And if it doesn't, and if it just keeps as a restaurant bar, the back room, he really wants to turn it into a weekly comedy club. I don't know if I want to get that far into the commitment and helping out with that, but we're talking about it. Either way, it looks like I'll have at least monthly shows there. So we'll definitely get Bobby, have you to come down sometime and do a show on that. And what I've been doing is letting people that don't get to do longer sets on them. So it's like, I have my show the day after Thanksgiving. I have 3 comics I like a lot. Ish Gupta, who's been on here before, I think. No, he's actually on next week. Ish is going to be on with what's the lady's name? Jenna Love, who's going to be on, because I booked them both separately.
Yes.
So the 2 of them will be on next week, and then I have Ish, I have Matt Lopes, who I'm going to have on soon, is a very funny comic, and Emily Sierra I've had on before. The 3 of them doing sets, and Brittany that was on with Dan Shea, she's going to be doing a guest spot on that show too. So getting people opportunity to do it, but I should have some stuff there. I got some things in the works. Hopefully some big things are coming up. Who fucking knows? Bobby and I that show we were plugging in upstate New York like a year ago, that might be coming back. We have a lot of fun things there.
I forgot about that.
That could be a good time. But if not, I might try to put something together around that time anyway and have Bobby involved in it so we get you down here. But besides that, everybody do heroin, right? That's the
I think it's a takeaway message. Heroin, not pedophilia.
Yeah. And you know what? If you've got to choose one,
right?
Give heroin to the pedophiles and tell them.
People will judge you less for the heroin.
If a pedophile does heroin, do you think he wants to fuck boys more or less?
Probably more, but he's less motivated to.
Well, he's looking for he's walking around looking for shit. That's a heroin addict.
Wow, what a great slogan for heroin. Heroin keeps you from fucking kids.
At least we're not fentanyl.
Remember, boys? Or at least we're not fentanyl. Bobby, you're a PR guy that's just missing his meaning. You know, you need that in life just to go, hey, heroin.
yeah, at least you're not fentanyl.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. And if you can't join them, beat them, and don't be a piece of shit.
Or on heroin.
Recording